Are you having trouble hitting your last hit goals in the new patch because you're too confused? Don't worry, this video will clear all your confusion and get you back on track. With the addition of 12 new camps and a bigger map, it is only natural for players to get confused. While a bigger map and more camps indicate an easier time farming, it is actually the opposite if it creates confusion. It leads to indecisiveness, which results in bad efficiency, which leads to bad farming. There are a lot of places to farm on the map now thanks to the new patch, so if you want to keep it simple, as long as you are hitting creeps consistently at any part of the map without dying, you should be fine. But if you want to take it to the next level, the next few things that I will go over will give you a better idea of how to farm efficiently and reach insane amounts of net worth value. Before that, if you have no idea about what a farming pattern is, please watch the farming pattern section of the video that will show on the top right, and then watch the rest of this video. Let's start with how to farm efficiently in the lane. Previously, in the lane, a good indicator of a consistently good GPM was being able to farm both the waves that spawn and the additional small and hard side camps every minute. This allowed you to be able to have more than 4.5k net worth at minute 10. In the new patch, it's more or less the same, but now you have more options. Previously, if the enemy offlane was stronger, you weren't allowed to farm the side camps because the offlaner would bully you, but now you have an outer jungle. In case it isn't safe to farm the hard plus small camp, now you can go behind your tier 1 and farm the small plus medium camp. Previously, you'd just get some creeps out of the waves that spawn, and that was about it, but now you can get a lot more. Let's say you are winning the lane, which means you can consistently farm the side camps without being bullied by the enemy offlaner. How do you decide when to farm the camps in the inner jungle over the outer jungle? In order to achieve maximum efficiency when it comes to farming, you need to farm something that is the nearest, safest, and easiest to farm. You decide between the inner and outer side camps based upon the distance and safety between you and the nearest camps. If you push the wave into the enemy while standing near your own tower, it is better to go for the outer camps as they are nearer. It all depends upon the distance. If you are closer to the inner jungle camps, farm them, and vice versa. In this patch, side lanes aren't the same. Giving up your safe lane tower for giggles and shit like the previous patch isn't an option anymore. But if you're in a very rough situation where you get absolutely nothing in the lane and your team refuses to do anything about it, you should take the L and ditch the lane. After that, you should farm the outer jungle near your safe lane rather than your inner jungle. The reason behind farming the outer jungle is that you can farm multiple camps at the same time with the hero that has the capability to do that, which makes you farm faster. This is not the case in your inner jungle. The camps are further away from each other, and it's a headache to try to farm two camps at the same time properly. The outer jungle is harder to gank. Enemies will mostly invade your inner jungle, and if you're farming the outer jungle, you can consistently dodge them. On top of that, in the outer jungle, you can place a single ward that can show you potential ganks. If you get smoked ganked, your team has multiple ways to TP to protect you. The distance from camp to camp is shorter in the outer jungle as compared to the camps in the inner jungle. That makes you move from camp to camp faster, which results in you being able to farm more in the same time. The outer jungle has auras that can help you in farming. On Dire, you get health regen aura, and on Radiant, you get mana regen aura, which can make a significant difference. Not only that, but you can also fuck around with the twin gates and go to the other side if you see the enemy coming to gank you, and then you can farm their side of the jungle because they can't reach here. While there are a lot of benefits to farming the outer jungle, the biggest downside of farming that area is that it doesn't exactly progress the game if you're farming your side of the outer jungle. There are two types of farming. One is AFK farming, which is you hitting neutral creeps mindlessly, and the other is farming neutrals and also pushing in waves, which is progressive farming. In the early game, if you're farming your side of the outer jungle, given that your safe lane tower is dead and the enemy waves are pushing into you, then you can also de-push those waves, which will be progressive farming as that is progressing the game. Other than that, you kind of don't progress the game in any way if you're farming the entire outer jungle with your safe lane tower alive. Lastly, you should only be farming the outer jungle if you can't farm the triangle or you have nowhere else to farm. In short, when you just need gold and no progression in the game. I've already mentioned when to implement the triangle farming pattern over your own safe lane jungle in the carry guide video that I talked about at the start of this video. You can review it if you want, it will appear on the top right. There are some changes to that pattern now. In the new patch, there is an addition of another ancient cap which is also near your triangle. When your hero is able to farm ancients reliably, you mostly want to play in your triangle because it gives way more gold and XP than your safe lane jungle. And you also get a chance to pressure the enemy by pushing waves into the enemy as compared to the other side of the map where you can only relieve pressure. But with the addition of this new ancient camp, there's a confusion about pushing waves and skipping the extra ancient camp or ditching the waves and getting the second ancient camp. As in the early game, you won't be able to do both. Dota is a game of pressuring, and whoever pressures better usually wins. Keeping this philosophy in mind, you should farm the triangle camps and then determine whether there's a wave you can safely push in. If the wave is available, then you should skip the second ancient camp and push the wave instead. And if the wave is far away, you should farm the second ancient camp. In short, farm triangle, push in a wave, farm side camps, and repeat. You can add second ancient camp after the farming ancient only if there isn't a wave available to push. This will be it for farming patterns. I hope this clears the confusion. To summarize it and some additional tips, keep these things in your mind. Outer jungles are faster to farm than the inner jungles. Prioritizing staying in lane and farming the two nearest camps after pushing them in unless you are forced out of the lane for any reason. Then farm the outer jungle as it gives you bonus auras and it's easier to farm because of the distance. Maximum efficiency is to farm something that is the nearest, safest, and easiest to farm, where N is equal to distance, S is equal to you won't die, and E is equals to how fast you can kill it. The triangle farming pattern is more or less the same as before. You farm ancients at the start or at the end of the minute, except that you can add another ancient camp in your farming pattern. Flash farming heroes can farm both ancients and push out waves in a minute. Heroes that can't exactly farm both ancient camps and also push waves should skip one ancient camp and push in waves. Prioritize creep waves over second ancient camp if you get the option. Outer jungles is only for farm, not progressing the game, but will always be a better option than the primary jungle. If you want to progress the game, triangle farming is your best bet or relieving pressure for your team while farming outer jungles. I hope this video was helpful. My next video will be on how to play the map as a carry in 7.33, which will cover the Brawly meta and how to play around it without compromising on your farm. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on it. Lastly, if you are interested in private coaching, you can join my Discord linked in the description. Other than that, I've also linked my Patreon where you can find excellent investment opportunities in terms of coaching packages. If you like the content, do subscribe as this will encourage me to make more videos like this. Do let me know in the comments if you have any feedback. Have a nice day and good luck with your games.